Welcome to the Dub Connect.
Connect Gang was good. We appreciate you tapping in with us on the Dub Connect. You know what I always say, once again it's on. I'm here with my partner in crime here, Jackie Ray. We are about to drop some technology on this track, all about the W. But before we get started, Jackie, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for this upcoming week. I just have to shout you out because Antonio is on vacation, but he did not forsake the Dub Connect. And from his hotel room, y'all, he is here.
We dedicated. That's what we do. We are dedicated again because we're about to drop this technology on this track. Got a lot of things that we want to cover. As you always know, we do this in 3 segments. Segment 1, we talk about the LA Sparks because Jackie does a great job of covering the Sparks for Nightcast Media. Again, she's an incredible journalist. You can find her at Nightcast Media. You can also find her at Jackie Ray TV. Also read and listen to her stuff that's at the Long Beach Post as well. Does an amazing job. Really far-reaching tentacles. Does a lot in the community in Long Beach. Also does a lot in the sports community as well. So we are going to, in segment 1, talk about the Sparks. We had a week this week where they played 3 games. They were 1-2. They lost to Las Vegas, and that was a pretty bad loss. Then they actually got a win against Phoenix, and then followed that up with another loss against Indiana, another team that's trying to find themselves as well. So we can go through the week. I'd love to hear your insight on what you saw covering the Sparks, of course, with Nightcast Media and Connect Game. We also give you a player of the week and a most improved player as it relates to the Sparks. So listen to Jackie Ray as she drops technology all on this track.
So the Sparks, like you said, they had an interesting week. We all know one of the biggest headlines had nothing to do with anything that was going on the court. I think they're still trying to find their identity a little bit, especially with now Katie Lou is back. Kristi Toliver is on her way back. She did a video that let fans know that she's on her way back. And Derek Fisher's already let us know that the offense runs through her. So it's going to be interesting to see how that means. What does that mean for the team? What pieces are going to shift? How's that going to change the starting lineup? How's that going to change the bench? You guys know that I'm a big fan of Amy Atwell, who still has not been put into rotation. And I see her after the game. She's great on the sideline. She still is cheering, but she's definitely frustrated that she hasn't been worked into that rotation at all. And I'm not sure what Derek Fisher needs to see from her to get her into that rotation. But the Sparks as a whole right now are still not the team that can beat a big juggernaut like the Las Vegas Aces, like the Connecticut Sun. They're just not that team to me because they're still a bunch of individuals, if that makes sense. Right now, they still haven't really gelled as a team. There's flashes of that. We've seen, especially with Kennedy Carter getting the start, her ability to kind of facilitate the game and get those assists in are great. But a lot of the times it's still coming down to Nneka really trying to put the team on her back in the late minutes of the 4th quarter to get the Sparks over that hump. So there's still some cohesiveness that's not there for me. And then, of course, when we had this issue with Liz Cambage this week resurfaced, then now internally you're having to deal with that and what that means as a team. And does she issue a statement? Does she talk to media? Instead of actually figuring out how you can gel, especially when you have so many road games. So they're still kind of finding themselves right now. So it's going to be interesting how they do tonight in Crypto Arena and once they come home, because being home has not been the relaxation for them that it should be. So it's going to be interesting to see, how they kind of get over this hump. And then, of course, face to face tonight in crypto.com arena. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. I agree with you there. One of the things that you mentioned about Nneka having sort of put on the cape and save the day, I was very encouraged when she was able to do that when they got the win against Phoenix, because she hit a shot down the stretch that really was a key factor in them getting that win against Phoenix. All about redemption, because there was another game last week where she had a chance to win it and she missed the shot at the buzzer with 3 seconds to go. So again, for a team that needs that sort of intestinal fortitude, that mental toughness has to sharpen when you're trying to find chemistry. We talk about chemistry a lot, but mental toughness and fortitude also has to be established while you're trying to find chemistry. So the fact that she was able to rebound, I was really encouraged by that. And then to your point, now you're dealing with some of these things off the floor as it relates to some of the comments that were made by Liz or weren't made, depending on who you listen to. I think the fact that we are still talking about who said what and what wasn't said even leads to more distraction because instead of saying, okay, they're having this sort of contrite apology saying, hey, I did say that and it was in a moment of rage or a moment of anger. I sort of lost it for a second. I apologize. You actually had Liz saying, I didn't say what was alleged.
Right.
So I think that leads to more of a distraction. Now it's, okay, not only did we have this crazy incident, now we don't even know what was really said or what was said, what wasn't said. So I think for a team, to your point, trying to find their chemistry, trying to find their mark, this is a whole lot to deal with. So
it is.
I'll ask you this. You said something about Kristi Toliver, and you also talked about Kennedy Carter. You talked about players, other guards, Jordan, of course, Jordan Canada as well. How do you think Kristi Toliver coming into the mix with Jordan Canada is finding herself as a point guard and leading the team for the very first time? Kennedy Carter is in a new locale in LA, trying to establish herself and doing a really good job at it at that. How do you think adding a guard the caliber of Kristi Toliver to the mix does for the Sparks backcourt? Do you think it will upset the apple cart? Do you think it will fortify them in the backcourt? What's your take on that?
I think it tightens everything up a little bit. I think that a lot of the kind of, for lack of a better term, like what the hell was that? I think the moments where I say that are probably going to be reduced a lot because I think she's just going to tighten everything up and everybody's going to know their roles. I also think there's going to be some tension off top because this is a seasoned vet. She knows what she's doing. Her basketball IQ is amazing and she is that clutch player. So things like you leaving your hand in the air when you're getting the brakes beat off of you after you shoot a free throw shot, or constantly chirping at the refs, or complaining all the time, or being slow to transition on a defense. I think those are things that are going to be addressed on the floor because let's not forget, as dope as she is as a player, she also is a coach. That's why she's late getting to the game, and she's already said the experiences that she's learned, especially in this playoff run, are experiences she has every intentions of bringing onto the floor, which means I'm coaching you up while we're on the floor, which means all this lollygagging, and I have yet to see Liz help set a successful pick and roll. We're going to have conversations about that. So I think there's going to be tensions. Right. So I think there's going to be a little bit of tension off top. And I think that tension should be received well. And I understand that people, I feel like Liz specifically, and maybe even Kennedy Carter to a full extent, because a little bit of extent, because they kind of mesh well together, might be emotional players, and they might not take that hard, I don't have time to sugarcoat this to you, get your butt in the game kind of conversation. But I do think those conversations are going to happen. I'm sure she's watched tape. I'm sure she's already seen things where she feels like she can be effective. And I think when she's on the floor, she's going to be that great teammate as well as that coach. And that's going to cause a rift at first. But as soon as people see how dope she is, I feel like everyone will settle into their roles and she'll tighten everything up.
No, as a Sparks fan, I'm super excited to see her back for her second stint with the Sparks.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sparks started last year because she was part of that championship run with Candace and Chelsea Gray.
Yeah.
So this is a player with championship medal, and then she also went to Washington and won another championship. So this is a player that wins titles. She won a championship when she was at Maryland. And of course, as you mentioned, she was part of that Western Conference Finals run for the Dallas Mavs as a coach. So she has all of that seasoning, all of that socialization in this game. And of course, she's going to bring that. And then to your point, I think when teams are trying to make that transition from being good to great or going from relevant to good, I think there is a certain level of tension. And there is a certain level of a healthy sort of, okay, this is how it's done. And listen to, and again, with all due respect, I don't mean this in a paternalistic way, but listen to me because I've already done this multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, if you are one of those young players that's trying to get that experience, of course, Jordan Canada has been part of multiple championship runs in Seattle. But if you are a young player that is trying to sort of gain your footing in the league, there's nothing better than gaining your footing in the league and doing that when you're around players that have won championships. So with that being said, if you're smart and if you're open, you will use that to your advantage. So Connect Game, before we get out of segment one, when we talk about the Sparks and Jackie is giving you all of this hashtag RTO real talk only, I got to ask her this. You know we do this. We have a player of the week for the Sparks, and we have a most improved player of the week for the Sparks. Let's start with the most improved player. Who gets that award from Jackie Ray?
Kennedy Carter, hands down, is going to get the most improved player for me. First of all, she had a career high with 20 points as a starter, which I was so excited. Y'all know I've been saying she needs to start. She needs to start. She got that moment and she handled it well. And one of the other things that really impressed me about her was...
Time out. Are you coaching the team?
No.
Yeah, you talking about she needs to start? You should be coaching the team.
If I was coaching the team, Amy Atwell would have more rotation. I still don't know why that girl ain't playing.
All right, let's continue giving Kennedy her flowers. I just had to ask that.
Yes, but I've been saying she needs to start. The girl plays with intensity. She is always focused. And the thing that really impressed me about her is, I don't know if you saw that last game, but she had, I don't know if it was tightness. I don't know if maybe she got dinged in the thigh or something, but she seemed to be having pain in her leg. But she played right through it. And then at the end of the game, I asked her, I'm like, how's your leg feeling? How you doing? She's like, I'm good. I could play another game. I'm always going to fight through it. She just has that level of fight in her that I love to see. So 100% my most improved player is Kennedy Carter. And then my player of the week, that was my most improved player. And then my player of the week is Katie Lou. She's just amazing to watch. I have so much respect for her landing and then 30 hours later playing her first game and just immediately being an impact. She stretches the floor. She's always focused and she's never tired. Like, I don't know, my body would still be adjusting from this time difference from playing over in Spain, but she's never tired. She's always got a bunch of energy. And just to see her continually improve with every game, she's definitely my player of the week. I love her.
Katie Lou really is helping them, and she's going Kevin Gates. I don't get tired.
Yes. I'm like, I'm tired watching.
Right. But with one of those, the shooters, like, they move a lot. So that's the thing. Everybody talks about, it's one thing, and I do this a lot in my basketball training when I'm working with kids. And I tell them a lot, it's one thing to be a stationary shooter. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. It's another thing to be able to shoot on the move. So to your point, Katie Lou is constant energy, always moving around, trying to find that open spot when somebody's dribbling to the cup, whether that's Brittany Sykes, whether that's Kennedy Carter, whether that's Jordan Canada, when someone's creating off the bounce and getting her an open shot. She is always on the move in that perpetual motion. If you're trying to defend that, sometimes that gets tiring, following someone around the floor. But the fact that she's able to do that and she's found her niche, had a great career at UConn, bounced around the league a little bit, but found the place for her. I'm very happy for her. So, Connect Game, you just got that hashtag RTO, Real Talk Only, in segment one as it relates to the Sparks. Follow Jackie at Jackie Ray TV. Also, go to Nightcast Media and get all of that coverage of the Sparks. And she's giving you real talk, taking you behind the scenes. Also, again, as we said, talking about those human interest pieces as it relates to the players on the Sparks. So again, appreciate you all tapping in. That's segment one. We will be back for segment two very, very soon.
Stay tuned. The Dub Connect will be right back.